So did you grow extra cauliflower this season and you can't eat it fast enough? You know, I always grow extra cauliflower every year so I can put some up in the freezer. So cauliflower is an awesome vegetable to freeze for winter eating. So we use it for stir fries, cauliflower rice. It's great in soups, and you can puree it for dips. So my daughter, she loves it steamed with butter and cheese on it. So in 6 easy steps, you can make frozen cauliflower to eat this winter. All right, so today I'd like to show you how we freeze our cauliflower for our winter dinners. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get a large pot. You want to fill it about 2/3 full of water, and you want to turn that on high, and we're going to work on getting that boiling. So while that's boiling, we're going to come up here and we're going to start with step number 2, which is wash and cut your cauliflower. I've already washed this cauliflower, so it's time to cut it. These are my last 3 heads from the garden. I had about 30 heads, so the freezer's starting to get full, which is pretty awesome. All right, so the way I do the cauliflower is I'll come in here and I'll cut some of that stump out like that. And I don't want any of the leaves in there. And then I'm just going to cut this in about, 1/2-inch slabs. So I'm just going to slab this up all the way down. Look how pretty this is. I love how it just looks like a tree. Oh, there's an earwig in it too. You want to catch those, get them out. I have boiled a few earwigs. I don't eat them, but I have boiled a few. Okay, so I'm going to cut that. That's why you know it's organic, if there's an earwig in it. Okay, and then you take this slab piece, take the leaves off, and we're just going to cut it into 1/2-inch chunks. And this is just how my family prefers it. You can do it any way you want, but this is what we're looking for. And then we have pieces that are very consistent in size, so when we're blanching, they're very similar. And I'm just going to cut up a whole bowl full of cauliflower. And it's a very fast way to get your cauliflower ready to go. Now, if you want it a little smaller, you can actually rice it if you want at this stage, but I find this is just a really good way to have it versatile and easy to get into the freezer bags. Alrighty, so our pot is boiling, and so what we want to do is we want to put the cauliflower in here. We're going to blanch it. So if you take your bowl and you go almost down into the water, you can pour that in without getting that hot water to splash up on your arms. It's kind of nice when it doesn't do that. All right, so we're going to put the lid on it. Now, what we're aiming for here is we're wanting to stop the ripening of the vegetable. So the enzymes are continuing to ripen the vegetable, and when it comes out of the freezer, it'll be kind of funky. So you want to stop the ripening process. You want to kill the enzymes, and we do that by putting them in boiling water. Now, we want to make sure that the pot comes back to a full boil. That way we know that the heat has transferred all the way in to all the pieces, and that we have killed those enzymes. So we are going to boil here. I got it on high, and it's going to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes for this to boil up. It just depends on how much material you put in there as to how long it takes to reboil. But you don't have to boil very long. You just have to get it to a rolling boil again. So if you'd like to get more of our fruit and vegetable preserving recipes, you can get our Fruit and Vegetables Guide. You can find it at thelivingfarm.org/high-performance-garden-show. When you get to that page, scroll down to the sponsor section, and there's where you can sign up to get your ebook. All right, we are now boiling, and so it's time to take the cauliflower out of here. And I have my strainer. And my husband cut the little loop off of it. There was a little loop here that made it to where I couldn't scoop. So now I can scoop my vegetables like crazy. I can just grab that out of the water. And the reason that I want to just scoop them out of the water is because I lots of times will run more than one batch. And so I want to just keep my hot water going and just keep running batches through it, so I can just pull my vegetables out this way. All right, we got the cauliflower out of the hot water. Now we're going to go to the sink. And in the sink, I got it, it's about 1/2 to 2/3 full of cold water. Now here in the Rocky Mountains, our tap water runs about 38 to 40 degrees. And so I can cool my cauliflower that way. My goal here is to stop the cooking. So I don't want this to cook anymore. We've killed the enzymes, but I don't want my cauliflower cooked. So we just put it in the cold water. Now, if you can't get cold water from your tap, you can always add ice to chill it down. So it's going to sit in this water for maybe about 5 minutes, and we'll leave it here until it's nice and cool. All right, so I can feel the cauliflower, and it's cool to the touch. The water is slightly warm, but we can go ahead and drain this. So I'm just going to pop the drain up. I'm going to leave it kind of blocking the hole here because I don't want my cauliflower to go down the drain. If you don't have a drain, a sink with a drain, and let's say you're just in a bucket, you can use that strainer and you can pull that back out and then just put it in a colander or something and let it drip a little bit. All right, so our 6th step is to get the cauliflower into our bag so that we can drop it into the freezer. So we got a couple different containers here. You can use a hard-sided container, and you're just going to put that cauliflower in there, and we'll put the lid on it. What I noticed with the hard-sided containers is it does build up some ice in here, so this is going to hold for maybe about 4 months or shorter. It's still okay to eat if it ices up, but it does do that because there's still air pockets in there. All right, the next is to use a freezer bag, and you can just fill your bag up with the cauliflower, and then what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the air out of this. It's too full. So you're going to zip that shut and just push down on it. Squeeze as much air out as you can so it's kind of sucked in a little bit. And this will last maybe a year. You can get a year out of that if you can push enough air out. And then the last way is to use the vacuum seal bags. So these are really great if you want a little longer storage. So you can store up to a year in the vacuum seal bags. So you just fill your bag. I did have a broccoli that I found in the bottom of the freezer last year, and it was 12 years old. So what we did with the broccoli is I'm like, oh, I'm either going to feed it to the chickens or we're going to eat it. So I took it, thawed it out, and it looked good. I cooked it, it smelled good. We ate it. It was fantastic. It was 12 years old, but it was in a vacuum seal bag, so it didn't have any air on it. So I don't recommend 12 years, but if you find one and it's older, you can do that. I'm going to go run and vacuum seal this. I'll be right back. All right, so here is our vacuum sealed cauliflower. So this is ready to go in the freezer once we label it. So what we want to do is write what it is on the top, and then we want to put the year on it. That way you know if it's 12 years old or not, right? So you want to label everything before it goes in the freezer, because sometimes when it's in the freezer, like if I had frozen potatoes and I had frozen cauliflower, I couldn't really tell the difference between the two. So go ahead and label that and get that in the freezer, and you're going to have some really, really good winter eating.